Hey, good evening, internetizens. It's me, DP Knudten, with another Bookward Bound, my 301-day journey from I should really do this to done when it comes to a brand new book by December, or actually January 1st, 2021. Now, if you're watching this on Twitch, I've switched categories. I used to have this under the podcasting category or something like that, and I've decided to switch categories to just chatting because I just want to chat. Seriously, I just want to chat. If you're interested in writing your own book, publishing your own book, especially publishing it via Amazon's Kindle Direct Publishing platform, I'm the guy you should be talking to, or one of the people you certainly could be talking to. And so I welcome any questions you have, etc., about that as I work on a brand new book that I am bound and determined to have uploaded and ready for publishing by January 1st of 2021. And yeah, that's kind of an aggressive goal. Well, not really, but it is if you're like me, someone who has to work for a living, who has a family, and who's trying to write this book after hours. And that's why I created this whole journey thing via Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Twitch. Literally, by coming out publicly and saying I'm going to do this, people like you are kind of forcing me to do it, to come down here every day, typically between or around 8 p.m., etc., for about half an hour, maybe an hour in length to work on the book. Well, I'll be honest with you. Today's Friday. I'm in the Midwest of the United States of America, right near Madison, the capital of Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin. And let's see, it's 4:36 right now, 4:37 p.m. And normally I would go live about 8 p.m., maybe 9 p.m. And I'm doing it early because, well, I want to get this over with. And I want to go get me one of those big cubicle blocks of ice in a whiskey glass, and then some fine Kirkland Costco Irish whiskey. Or actually, I think they were out, so I have to drink Jameson tonight. Sorry. But I do want to get my JMO on, and I want to do it after I start, or actually after I get this thing done. So enough about that and enough about me and my Friday drinking habits. Let's get right into the whole grand scheme of things by checking out the book where it stands right now. Now, interestingly enough, earlier today, I did what Scrivener calls a compile, which is take a look at all the stuff that's already written from the title page over here all the way through the final thing in the book, which is my bio. And if I highlight all of those things, it will give me a total word count for the book, which comes out to about 39,777 words as it stands right now. Well, hello, Ilbag Sur. Nice seeing you on Twitch there. If you've got any questions about writing a book or using Scrivener to write that book, or you just want to say, hey, I'm here to just chat with people like you. At any rate, this book right now is just under 40,000 words. And for the heck of it, I did what Scrivener calls compiling the book, which means it takes everything that's written and puts it in a format that would be usable as a PDF. So you can literally get a preview of your book size and length based on the size book that you want to create. In my case, it's a 6-inch wide by 9-inch high book called a paperback that will be created by Amazon's Kindle Direct Publishing. Well, when I did that, I found out I've got like 200 pages done of a book that I thought was going to be probably about 250 pages. And yet, I've got like 155 days left to go on this journey about writing a book. So I've got plenty of time to answer your questions. Yeah, Elbeg, sir, you've got a question about culture. You certainly can ask that. I'm going to guess that you might not be Americano if you're asking about culture. If you are, go ahead and ask the question about culture. And also let me know where you're located, because I would love to know just geographically where you're coming from. But anyway, so I'm writing this book, and it's about Turkish culture. Oh, are you from Turkey? What do you think about Turkish sacrifice feast? I'm not sure what that is. And yeah, and you're from Turkey. I don't know what the Turkish sacrifice feast is. And depending on how you answer this, I may not answer your question because you might be punking me. Don't know, but go ahead and ask. Anyway, going back to the book over here, I'm using a software package called Scrivener. It's made by the guys at Literature and Latte. So if you go to literatureandlatte.com, you'll see that they have a book writing application called, actually, let me pull that up because I can show you what it looks like. Literature and Latte. These guys are the guys who created the application, hold on, that I'm using. And the cool thing is I'm on Mac, and a Mac OS user, but that doesn't mean if you're on Windows or even Linux. Yeah, so here, let's go to Scrivener. Because it has versions for Mac OS, Windows, and also iOS, which is cool. And I think there's a Linux version too. But anyway, it's a really great piece of software that I've already written a book about, or I've written a book with. So I'm very familiar with Scrivener, and I highly recommend it to anybody, especially authors who might be interested in writing a book. It's a really great piece of software, highly recommended, and it's also not that expensive. I mean, let's take a look. If I want to buy it now, what's it cost? And these are, of course, are US prices. So a full license for Mac OS is $49. That's pretty darn cool. For Windows, it's $49. And for iOS, it's only $19.99 for iPad, etc. So anyway, very cool software, and I really enjoy it. And it allows me to write the book over here in this main window, but also look at this over here, which is my chapters or sections. And I've got them color-coded, and there are numerous different ways to color code or make Scrivener your own. In my case, I use flags, colored flags, to indicate doneness. Red means, dude, you haven't written anything over there. Yellow means, hey, you've done some writing in here, but you're nowhere near done. Blue means, this section's probably pretty well done, but maybe it's missing something in here. I'm actually going to go through this and highlight it. All right, highlighter. And you can see I'm using dark mode, which is available in Scrivener, which is really great. And then green means this section is done, written, and it's been proofed to a certain level of editing and quality. Hold on a second. My light's doing something funny. All right. So here we are. And what I wanted to do was come over here where you can see Sarah Townsend NFB quote. What that means is I have got a podcast recording with a copywriter from Gloucester, England. And I want to include some of the stuff she said during the podcast in the book. So what I'm going to do is open up the actual podcast session, which I did in Audacity. And hold on, I'm getting this to a better window for me. I'm going to open file, open recent, and that'll be Sarah Townsend. Okay. And you can see the actual waveforms of both Sarah and myself. So this is Sarah talking right on the second track. But I want to, she talked about, and it's pretty early, I think she talked about she always won the prizes in English, or Hold on.
The sound of the fact that you two had clicked instantly, it just felt so authentic and such a great relationship. And I a subtitle, How to Go Solo Without Going Loco. There's a whole story behind why that got dropped, but ultimately it's precisely about that. That sums it up so beautifully. Everybody talks about the good things about self-employment, but nobody really gets into the nitty-gritty mess.
All right, so I asked her some questions about her use.
Literally decades. You can call me veteran, just don't call me vintage.
We have some banter. As a word aficionado myself, I would prefer vintage. Like, are you kidding me? All right, hold on.
Oh, wait, my daughter also goes to university in Bristol, to the other one.
All right. Let's see.
Ooh, I guess.
So I already grabbed this quote from her. Let's see what she says over here.
I would say so. I would say I've always had that love of words.
Okay. There we go. So I'm going to be actually transcribing what she said. So this is going to be a little tedious, but bear with me. I would say I've always had that love of words or something like that.
I would say so. I would say I've always had that love of words as well. I used to be the person
of words as well, period. I used to be the person
used to do a fair bit at school who would get the English prize. I used to be the person at school who would get the English prize.
I used to be the person at school who would get the English prize.
Even now I have certain words that I don't like the sound of and certain words I very much do. Yeah, no, I suppose, I mean, my original background in my career.
Let's go back to that.
Yeah, no, I suppose, I mean, my original
prize. So I don't want that one part. Sorry. That I suppose.
I mean, my original background in my career was nothing to do with words.
My original background in my career had nothing to do with words.
I mean, my original background in my career was nothing to do with
nothing to do with words.
I mean, my original background in my career was nothing to do with words. So I always kept that passion.
Period. So I always kept that passion.
I mean, my original background in my career was nothing to do with words. So I always kept that passion, but didn't get to actually put it into play.
But actually didn't get, I don't want to get rid of that, to put it into play.
I suppose, I mean, my original background in my career was nothing to do with words. So I always kept my original background in my career was nothing to do with words. So I always kept that passion, but didn't get to actually put it into play in my career until
Put it into play in my career. Until
my original background in my career was nothing to do with words. So I always kept that passion, but didn't get to actually put it into play in my career until I guess when I started.
Guess when I started.
I guess when I started working in marketing, which was probably 4 years into my career. So I had a really good solid background.
Marketing, which was about 4 years into my career.
It was the best possible foundation for any sort of self-employment, whether I solid background in admin, probably 4 years into my career. So I had a probably 4 years into my career. So I had a really good solid background in admin.
A really good solid background in admin.
Employment possible foundation for any sort of where are you going in admin, but actually good solid background in admin, which some people might think, well, good solid background in admin, which some people might think, well, where are you going in admin? But actually it was the best possible foundation for any sort of self-employment, whether I
4 years. Oh, okay, I don't want to go into the admin part, so let's take that. Oh, let's see. So let's see how this works out here. I want to make the case that she knows who she is. I'm going to give some bold in here. bolded a couple of points in her answer above that I think are absolutely fundamental to her long time success as a writer. It's because she's always been a writer. No matter what task she's had to perform or position she'd been hired to fulfill. Quote, I used to be the person at school who would get the English prize. Do you know how few people would even want the English prize? Much less gently brag about it. Much less brag about it. As do I call her middle-aged? Brag about it after what? 3 or 4 decades? Do you know who actually would? Do you know? Do you know who actually would? Natural born writer. The way I look at it, that fits Sarah to a T. And the thing I really love about her is that she had the guts to recognize that very early on in her professional career, and to the point that she took the huge leap to open her own business, focusing solely on writing in all its phases. Sarah, whether she knows it or not, did the heavy lifting of knows or not, did the heavy lifting of defining her personal brand years before Tom Peters coined the term and defined the term. And now she's sharing what she's learned over the years in the form of what else for a writer? What else? A new book? That's not a coincidence. That's her destiny made manifest. How about that? All right, so I think that's done. I need to get a picture of her in here, so. And I can do that. So one of the things I really like about Scrivener is the fact that you can plug all your source material inside Scrivener, kind of as a entirely packaged thing. So, for instance, I am going to open up, because I do have guest photos. All right, so I need to crop this bad boy. Sorry. I do like the ampersand coffee cup, though, so I might try to keep that in there. How about we do this? Cut off a little of her hair. But get her phone. Just like that. Crop. We're going to do a save as, file, save as. Make sure it's a JPEG at best possible. Book, crop. microphone's always a little low, so it gets in the way of my typing a little bit. Dang you. Actually, I can do that. There we go. Book crop, JPEG, save, and then I'm going to turn it into a grayscale. Go to Tools, adjust color, and that is saturation. See, desaturate, make it black and white. I'm going to up the contrast a little bit. Expose, yeah, leave it like that. All right, so, and then I'm going to save that as file, save as grayscale, best quality. And this I'm going to drag right into Scrivener. So, dang it. You've been looking at my chin. Sorry about that. So that's what I just did, and I should have been demonstrating to you. So I'm going to drag that in. And I'm going to have to resize this when I get down to actually doing the guts work in here. Sarah. Vintage. Copywriter. Gloucester. England. And this is an inside joke. I'm going to do a strike through if I can. Let's see. I need to format font, strike through. Because, okay, so this is a little inside joke. In the podcast, she referred to herself as a veteran copywriter. And I'm like, no, you're not veteran, you're vintage. Because it's much better to be vintage, if you ask me. I'm a word guy. So the difference between veteran and vintage is vintage gets better with age. Veteran means you've been through the wars, you're tired, you're old, and you probably have a limp. She doesn't have that. She is truly vintage, and that's why I'm happy to make acquaintance with her and include this in the book. So I think this is where I'm going to leave this right now. I'm going to go ahead and give this the blue flag, or let me actually show you this. I'm going to swap flags by double clicking on this, change icon to my blue flag for, I think it's done, but I need to go through it. Knowing who you are. So I want to, Sarah quite clearly knows who she is. Comma. And whether she knows it or not. And not and no and now. Thank you. Sarah quite clearly knows who she is, and whether she knows it or not, did the heavy lifting of defining her personal brand years before Tom Peters coined and defined the term. And she's been being who she is for over 2 decades professionally. And now she's sharing that's her completely true, completely you, destiny made manifest. Personal brand, destiny made manifest. Okay, how about that? Leave it like that. So one of the things I love about Scrivener is down at the bottom, it gives you a running word count. So if you're down here, you can see this section is 1,147 words. So you can say that basically I wrote this today. So that's 334 words, you know. Okay, maybe not my quota of 500 words, but that's cool because I got this section done. The other thing I love about Scrivener is if you don't have anything highlighted, it will show you the word count for the entire section. And if you click on it, you can see things like how many sentences there are, how many paragraphs, average paragraph length, average sentence length, and then reading time. This is really kind of cool because it gives you a basic idea of how long it would take to read this section. Each one of my sections, now that one just said that section would take 4 minutes and 35 seconds to read if you read it straight through. Cool. I want my sections to be about 4.5 to 5 minutes in length because I don't see this as a book that you sit down and read cover to cover. I see it more like you dip into it for a little bit, find something, act upon it, maybe come back to it at a later time. Or I want these to be bite size, kind of the length of a long blog post, each of these sections. So most blog posts are probably around the 500 to 750 word length, going up sometimes up to 1,000. So this is right on the longer end of that for a lot of blog posts. So it makes it very easy for people who have kind of gotten used to the rhythm of reading and write a blog post length article. And I'm feeling good about that. So I'm going to put this to bed for the night so that I can go get my Friday evening drink on. And I want to thank you again for helping me do this, because if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be down here. I'd find some excuse not to be here to do my BOOKWARD BOUND. Where is it? It's over there, right? It's over this shoulder. You know, if it weren't for you, I would find an excuse not to do this. But because I made this commitment to you, I'm down here doing it. So thank you very much. I'm DP Knudten with the Nonfiction Brand Podcast and Nonfiction Brandversity. You can find the Nonfiction Brand Podcast wherever you get find podcasts for free, and it comes out every Monday. And we're up on episode 101 right now. Episode 102, which is the second half of my conversation with Sarah Townsend, comes out on Monday. So you'll definitely want to check that out. And you can find it wherever fine podcasts are free. Just search Nonfiction Brand. And if you see my face doing something like this, you found the right thing. So that's it for me tonight, or this afternoon into evening. Thank you so much for helping me do this. I'll see you next time, but until then, theme music, take us on out. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.